Don't do 15 minutes to do 15. Make the time fit. No.
Make it fit. What I noticed is going through, because I kind of went through, I didn't make it through all of the Sabbath albums or even all of the newer Ozzy stuff. But like I said in the beginning, he had some good musicians. You know, Zakk Wylde, he had Randy Rhoads, he had Tony Iommi and the whole Black Sabbath. I don't know any other musicians he jammed with other than the main guitarist as Ozzy. But what I noticed in this is, you know, there's all these subgenres of metal. Black Sabbath has got a song that most likely spawned it or would fit that category. Like you said, Sweet Leaf, stoner doom rock. I mean, almost their whole, you know, they invented doom metal almost. You know, there's some that will argue other, but there's so many subgenres. He's definitely the godfather of metal. I'm pretty sure he has been dubbed that. That's not me saying that. But you know, you go through and you start seeing all these subgenres, and you can go find a song in early Black Sabbath that would fit that. And my number 5 is not Sabbath. This is one of my favorite songs ever. I didn't know this album existed, and I didn't know Ozzy covered it. Working Class Hero. The album was 2005 Undercover. It was a whole album of covers. Like I said, I didn't know it existed.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's like older songs. It wasn't kind of like, not like Johnny Cash did, where he did newer songs and paid tribute. It looked like this was all older ones. I can't remember.
I have one that was on my list I almost used that was on there. That's another one, just like a style, you know, an older song that he did really good justice.
Yeah, what song was it?
Mississippi Queen.
Yes, that was the one I was thinking.
Dude,
that I wanted.
Nails it in that. Like there's, when we do those remake ones or whatever, that was one that, is it better than the original, and tests it. I mean, and Mississippi Queen's that's hard to say.
Yeah. Well, it's no big secret that Ozzy was a Beatles fan. He, you know, I mean, as he was coming out, they were breaking up, so he grew up with the Beatles, and I'm sure I know he said it publicly in interviews, but I don't know. Who do you think Ozzy's favorite Beatle was? I'm gonna vote for John. I think if Ozzy had a favorite Beatle, it would be John.
It's hard to say, just because he was always the leader, and Paul was always kind of the main front man. But yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this before. I'm kind of a Paul guy. Weirdly, I mean, I think John was the deeper writer, the you know, all that. I don't know. You know, it's hard to say.
Well, who do you think Ozzy's favorite Beatle was?
I want to say Paul is what I would say.
You would say Paul.
Beautiful voice of Paul is hard to not be a fan.
Everybody out there listening, let us know what you think.
It was probably Ringo, if I'm honest.
I mean, who doesn't like Ringo? How can you not like Ringo? You know, I mean,
poor George. Nobody ever. I don't know if he's ever been mentioned in somebody's favorite. I mean, and I had no problem with George.
Well, for me, in my top 2, it's John and George, and it's always.
Right. I forget we talked about that.
They're always fighting for number 1 in my hearts. But I mean, I love Paul. Paul's, like I said, Paul's my least favorite Beatle.
I know.
I mean, but that doesn't mean I don't like him. You know, I mean, if I met him, I would be like,
the Beatles. You know,
I would be like, oh, I'd be Wayne and Garth and him. You know, I mean,
we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Exactly. So my number 4 was Road to Nowhere. And like she said, the line she said is what I wrote down, but you know, that just seems how it is. So I'm gonna substitute it with See You on the Other Side, which seems fitting because it is, you know, we will see him on the other side now. You know, Over the Mountain would have been good too. That could do it. But I'm gonna stick with my See You on the Other Side, which was the Osmosis album. I don't know the year, but that was after Zach joined him.
That was one of his more ballady, or I don't know how you call that, but type songs. We'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely kind of call it a ballad, you know, a sad ballad.
Yeah,
a sonnet.
Something. Yeah, that was like a little bit of his Meatloaf coming out there, you know, or maybe that's where Meatloaf got some of his from. One of the two.
Yeah. Well, the story about how Zach got picked, I seen that because Zach was, grew up with the Sabbath, and then was in love with, I mean, not in love, but loved Rhodes. Was very influenced by Rhodes' style. And then so Randy Rhodes passed away, and then so they got to the point where they needed to replace, get another good singer in there. And Sharon's like, you got this whole box full of demo tapes you need to go through. And Ozzy's like, I don't want to. And so he just grabbed one, and that's the story. I don't know if I'm pretty sure that Sharon, probably said
Maybe put that one on the top.
gave him that one, because I think Sharon had done, had met Zach, seen the demo and stuff, and it couldn't have been more fitting, because Zach carried a lot of weight with Ozzy. He did a lot of singing. There's sometimes I hear that I've heard that on stage, if you see an Ozzy live, you might be hearing Zach Wild sing, because you can hear it in his solo, his projects, that he's very, he tries to sound like Ozzy, but Ozzy was signing the checks. So, I mean, hey, I love both Zach Wild and Ozzy, so I can dig it.
Okay.
All right, my number 3, the one you had me puckering on the debut album, the Black Sabbath album, was a 9-minute song. There's 4 songs. Wasp, Behind the Wall of Sleep, Basically, and NIB. And I really only chose it because of NIB, because I like this version, the original version of it. But I mean, all of it is good up until then. But the NIB was it Nativity in Black, and
Yep.
it's
That was,
basically a story of he's portraying the devil in this song, and come to me, trying to entice his his victims or whatever.
yep.
It's a good song. I don't know if they really re-recorded it when they re-released it here in like 2000 or something. I think it came out on like a greatest hits compilation album. It was when it came out again as just NIB. They still the basically the little bass intro thing. They left that, and so
Yeah, and that's because just the NIB version was my 6. It almost made my list. That's the version I know. I mean, just because again, that's another one of those 9-minute songs. I remember hearing it, but thought it was its own song as a kid playing on the album or whatever, and then you go to look for it, and this other song starts, and my dad's like, "No, it's back there.
yeah, you got to
We'll
get
get
through these
there.
2 songs before
Gotta
you
hear
get to
2
that
other
one."
good songs first. Don't worry." So
Well, like I said, since Santia stole my saddest sad song, I'm glad I still got the other sad song, Changes, off of the Sabbath, which I couldn't remember if Sabbath or Ozzy did it, so I was a little surprised that it was Sabbath.
yep,
But that was the 72 album, the Volume 4.
it never focuses, but there it is on my list. Oh.
Yeah. And this one, I don't know, was Volume 4 also, that wasn't the same as the one you were talking, the Master.
No, it's not it. But there's what's crazy is I think there was like volume 4 had some songs from Masters of Reality or vice versa. There's like 1 or 2 songs that I do believe cross over, but they're not the bigger ones.
Yeah. And
And
like I
it's
said,
crazy. It is raining insane outside, and like it's been warm in my studio. And this cold front that's moving coming through, it just dropped like 15 degrees in an insulated studio.
yeah,
This is nice.
nice. Well, like I said, I think 4 was when things when friction started to happen with the band. I think from what I was watching some interviews and stuff, and I think they had a different name for 4, because 4 had this was the one that had, I'm pretty sure this had Sweet Leaf on it too, but it also had Snowblind. Maybe it didn't have Sweet Leaf on it, but it definitely had Snowblind on it, and there was a lot of snow at the time,
Yeah.
and which that was probably the main reason Ozzy was no longer part of Sabbath. But this was 8 year, well 7 year, I can't math right now, 7 years before he actually kicked. But I've heard the stories that this was a wild time in the studios, and just mounds of it, and they had a different name, and the record company said, no, you can't call that album that.
Yeah, no, it does not have
Sweet
Sweet
Leaf.
Leaf on it.
Okay. But it does have Snowblind, right?
Yes, and it has that Supernaut, which is another
Oh
song.
yeah, definitely on my
Changes, which was on mine, and then
Yeah.
Wheels of Confusion, which is
Yeah,
a good
yeah,
song too.
yeah.
And yes, and then even Under the Sun, Every Day Comes and Goes. So that was another. I mean, this is crazy. Is we each could have just got assigned an album and
Yeah.
probably had 5 songs, and been okay with it. Like, oh, this one only had 10 songs, and I still struggled to pick my top 5,
Yeah.
or whatever. So,
Well, I kind of on the Changes song, I kind of because what that other cat had done a cover of it, and I love that cover, and he found it when his mom died. So some reason I had it in my head that Ozzy, I mean, it's definitely a love song or a heartbreak song, losing a love, a love. But Ozzy's mom didn't die till like 2001, and from what I can find, he just got married in 71. So what I can figure is the honeymoon was over, and so he wrote this song, this really freaking sad song called Changes. And so I don't know, because
well,
his first wife was married in 71, and I think they split in 82, and then he got with Sharon, which Sharon was the daughter of his record producer, manager, not manager, but who was in control of his career. And I think her dad was about ready to shit can him, and she was like, let me take him.
straighten him out.
And so, I
She
don't,
struggled. She tried. She kept him straightened out, but
yeah.
it's like sometimes a wild dog's gonna bark.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think I don't think he would have been nearly as charming if he would have minded his P's and Q's. You got to have a little honoriness. You got to bite a little heads off,
Yeah, and like I said, I never meant
snort
it
some
the wrong,
fire ants.
I never meant it the wrong way. The extra years with him were just extra years because that was a guy that anybody, I mean, like nobody, oh my God, he just, like it's sad that he went, but it's insane that he made it that long.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's one of those rock stars that was like, I'm gonna party like a rock star, and what happens happens.
Yeah.
I mean, later in life he did clean up, he tried, he did all that, but and I mean, I know from obviously the kids, he was a good dad. But he was I mean, that dude spent a lot of money on paying for some hotel damages.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Definitely. All right, my number one, like Santi had said, Paranoid was probably I'm pretty sure Smoke on the Water was my number one. Paranoid was probably number two. This one was probably the third song I learned, but Electric Funeral off of the Paranoid album. And it's got a real sci-fi horror film feel to it. And not there was I'm not going to say that was the first, because I know there was other bands that definitely had, like even Led Zeppelin had the sci-fi feel, but this was kind of like, the aliens coming down to get you kind of feel. And I love the song, and like I said, none of their stuff was too terribly hard, but good music that doesn't have to have 1,000 notes and doesn't have to be hard to play it. Iommi just made that guitar talk, I mean, his own way. All of his guitarists he's worked with, which I know he's worked with more than just Iommi Rhodes and Zach, because I think Zach split out a couple years, or he didn't. There was some albums, as he did with Ozzy, that he wasn't with Zach. I'm pretty sure. I may be wrong, but
what's crazy to me is, again, that Iron Man was used, that Paranoid was used, that Electric Funeral was used, and the I mean, War Pigs that's got to be the biggest song off that album, right?
no, like I said, that whole album, I could have used every song. There's not one song I don't like.
Between Paranoid and War Pigs,
Fairies Have Boots. You got to believe me.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Hands of Doom, Rat Salad. Yeah.
And all of them. But the only reason Funeral made it was because, that was one of the guitar songs I learned. I never got to play it live, which I probably would have butchered it. And then I switched to bass. And so,
I believe it.
Talking about Jana's, you popping it up?
Yeah, I popped it up. It was up there for a little while.
Okay.
And then she also said this. Another epic upcoming playlist.
Yep. We've got the last week's, the innuendos, a lot of good giggles on that one. Maybe a few question marks, but